The views and opinions expressed by John and DJ do not reflect those of any intelligent or rational human being and are solely the property of the Brightside Chat.
This show is a proud member of the Nerdy Legion Podcast Network. Get more at nerdylegion.com. Enjoy the show.
Hey, welcome back to the Bright Side and issue number 163, John. How are we doing? 2 weeks in a row. Look at us go.
I'm doing great, man. How are you?
I'm doing great. Feeling good. I'm not looking good.
You look cold.
Yeah, it's 7 degrees here, John. So it's
nice.
very, very balmy. I got my flannel pants on. Flannel lined jeans on, keep comfy. See. Yeah, look at that, huh? Oh, hey, John, can I get in out of the cold here? Let's head into the store and have some fun.
Yeah, come on in.
All right, thank you very much.
Yeah.
And it's so toasty in here, John.
It is. It's a whopping 55 here today. So.
You had your winter coat on, didn't you?
I had my hoodie on for sure. Yeah.
Oh yeah, 55. I wear a hoodie on 55 too. Lydia have the snow boots out?
She does. Yeah, she's in like a parka.
A parka, exactly. Yeah. It's not easy. It's we laugh, but it's.
She's cold in the best of times, anyways. Right. You know, like in the summertime, she's got a jacket on. So, anything below 80 and she's freezing. Yeah. So.
Hey, I don't blame her. I mean, she grew up down there. It was warm all the time. I'm like, we go through it every year up here. I work outside every day, and I go through it every single year, and I love it. I love that. In November, I'm like freezing. I got my sweatshirt on. I'm like, my hands are cold. Everything about me is cold, and it's like 38.
Right.
But then come March, and it's like 38. You're like in a t-shirt. You're loving it. Like, I can work like crazy in this weather. And it's all just what you're used to, really. And it's like, I wish you could just flip a switch in November and just be like, dum-dum, this isn't that cold. Right. Because I know it's not, but your body's not used to it. And you got to get used to it. And every year, people laugh at me because I wear shorts up till past Thanksgiving on purpose to get my body acclimated. And then I do the same thing with pants. It'll be 90 degrees in May. I'm like, nope, Memorial Day hasn't hit yet. I'm not wearing shorts until after Memorial Day. I got to get used to the heat because there's nowhere to go. Can't get naked.
I can't wear white, and I can't wear shorts.
You can't wear shorts, exactly. And white shorts, forget it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so all right, that was our weather report.
Yeah.
Our weather report from Brightside. So
news and sports later.
News. Patriots are in the playoffs.
They are for this week.
For this week, yeah, they took a year off. That was nice of them.
Likely won't be next week, but they are right now.
Well, you never know. Who are they playing? Buffalo?
They're playing Buffalo.
Buffalo, yeah. They beat them. They're 1-1 against them, so you never know.
They are.
But that's what's fun about them now is we're back to normal with our team. We're not no expectations. Anything that happens. Yeah, exactly. Hey.
Honestly, we got more out of them this year than I expected. So anything else is a bonus.
Exactly.
When they were 2-4, I would have been happy to get to the wild card round.
They still looked good though. I mean, they played well against Tampa. They did. Yeah. You know, they dropped a couple that you were like, that would have been nice to grab that one.
They should have won the 1-point opener against Miami too. But
yeah, well, woulda, coulda, shoulda, but they probably should have lost a couple in there too. So
right.
But so how's the store doing this week?
It's good. Can't complain.
Doing well.
Yeah, it was a pretty good week. Still riding the Christmas train a little bit, I think.
Nice.
So yeah.
Nice. All right. You know what I didn't do? I gotta find it. I already put the notes together and everything for. I forgot to. Usually I call all this stuff up ahead of time, but I didn't today for some reason. Our mailbag. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Are you ready to get to mailbag?
Sure.
Oh, for the love of God, what are we doing here? Everything's freezing on us here. Hang on, I've screwed Screwed the pooch. All right, there you are. All right. Video image just went away for a second. But that's okay. All right, now where's... I got it. Here we go. I can't find anything. Everything. My desk is all cluttered here.
Uh-oh.
All right. Let's see. What do we got here from Mailbag? Slow week. It's okay. But we have this one right here. Let me get it nice and level. There we go. All right. Martin Henderson says, Brightside chat at Arkham Comics. I totally agree. The shows don't have to be great. They can still be okay and still be very watchable. But the bar is set pretty high today with all the great shows out there. I'll give Carnival Row a shot. Thanks. He then went on to say at Brightside Chat and Arkham Comics, if you're out of shows to watch, that's you, John.
That's me.
Try, quote, The Watch on HBO Max. It's pretty fun. Okay. Show set in the world of Terry Pratchett, Discworld, and then Lego Ant Morph. Don't even ask. I don't know what that means, but said set very loosely in the world of Terry Pratchett.
Yeah.
So, and then Martin said, you are very right. I actually first realized it was loosely based on his stories a couple of minutes into the episode. It's a strange show, but still add fun. So, who's Terry Pratchett?
So he's an author. I am not familiar with his work though. Like I've never read the Discworld series. I've heard of it. I've heard of the author. So it's not anything I'm familiar with to watch the show. I wouldn't have a frame of reference. But I'll definitely list it in the things to put on my list to watch because I am, like I said, I am kind of scraping the bottom of the barrel right now until we get a few more things out. So.
You're not back to watching like Spanish soap operas or Mexican soap operas again?
Not at the moment, but if there's a new one that comes along, I'm not opposed. We never did finish that show.
Oh, you didn't?
Well, no, because we moved to the Americanized version, which was Queen of the South.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And we watched that. We watched that instead.
Yeah.
So we never went back to the novella version of it, but
right. Yeah, Jen and I started Queen of the South, but
I actually finished. I actually paid for the last season on Amazon Prime so I could watch it because I didn't want to wait a year for it to become free.
Right.
So it's the only season of TV I have ever purchased.
Yeah.
And I paid like, I don't know, $14 or something for the whole season.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was good. I know we talked about it back in when it happened. It was a good show.
Yeah.
By now it's probably free. So
yeah,
when and if you get to it, it'll be there.
Yep. Oh, this is. Hang on.
But we watch a lot of. I watch a lot of stuff that's in other language, and subtitled between.
I don't
Spanish
like that
stuff, and we've watched several of the, like you said, those Hebrew, like those Jewish or Israeli shows.
Yeah,
we watched a couple of those. I'll watch. We've watched a lot of other countries' stuff because, like I said, we're caught up and we're always looking for good stuff. And there's good stuff to watch. You just have to put up with the subtitles or the bad dubbing because in most cases you can switch the language over and just put up with it being bad.
Right.
But we watch a ton of stuff like that. So.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of subtitles. I don't like...
I'm not either, but...
I would rather watch the lips be misaligned than read.
Yeah.
Because we do a lot of ours while eating. So
we do too.
You can't
I agree
eat
with you.
and read at the same time. And it's like, and we'll start a show that'll have subtitles and I'll be like, I can't, I look down for 2 seconds. I have no idea. And now somebody's mad. I can tell by the inflection how mad they are, but I don't know why. Because you missed it while I was searching for my broccoli.
And it's not so much it's not even the misaligned lips that get to me. It's just the voices and the acting never seem to match what's happening on screen. Like we just did it with El Chapo, the 3 seasons of El Chapo we watched.
Okay.
we watched the English dub, and they just don't. The voices don't match the actors that you're seeing on screen.
The voice acting isn't as good. Right.
Right. And they all sound exactly the same. It's like they're just reading it. They're not acting it.
Yeah.
And so that bothers me. But like I said, I agree with you, because we watch it while we're eating dinner, or, even sitting on the couch. Sometimes I want to look at my phone or do something. And I can't do that if I have to read everything. So
what I end up doing, there's too much content for me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, wait a minute, I have to read too? No. Yeah. And I can't wait to get to checkout today. I'm reading a lot lately. But yeah, But you do miss some stuff. Like you cut yourself off from some things that are good by doing that. But I understand, because I'm missing a lot of stuff. I'm actually thinking of starting.
Well, you miss a lot of stuff. Yeah, you miss a lot of stuff in English too. But
I know. So I should finish the English language before I start going into other people's.
Well, yeah, and I agree. The Sopranos. That's a must-watch show.
I
know. It really is.
I heard about somebody was talking about it the other day that I was listening to, and I was like, you know what, Jen and I should start that one. But we're finicky like that, and
you shouldn't start it. You should
finish it
to finishing it. Yes,
right.
Because you start lots of things. You just don't actually commit to finishing a lot of things.
John, I'm still friends with you. I committed to that. Okay.
Well, there you go.
There you go.
And that's been a chore for 25, 30 years. I know.
25, 30. We're heading to 40 there, buddy.
40 years.
40. Yeah. It's insane. All right. Like it's crazy. I don't even know what we're at for our reunion. I know we passed our 30th, but 35 something. 35 is right now. Right? Yeah. So, and we were friends before that. So yeah, we're coming up on 40 years.
Yeah.
Anyways. And we're no smarter.
Exactly.
All right. Next one. This one comes from a buddy Martin, geekfind.nft, NFT, at geekfind. Says, hey, at Brightside_chat at Arkham Comics. I also almost stopped after 3 episodes of Station 11, but glad I stuck around. Episodes 5 and 6 were great, and 7 is amazing as the past, present, future, LOL, and the sci-fi story of the graphic novel become intertwined. A-. So
I saw that, and I haven't gone back to it, but I will probably give it another shot.
Cool.
And see. Yeah.
Cool. All right. I will try and check that out. We got some stuff to talk about. Jen and I started a couple shows too, so. But I will put that that's in English, right?
Yes, it is.
All right.
English.
That makes the list.
You can add it to the queue.
There you go. All right. This next one came to me today from Greg, who is my future son-in-law, as a matter of fact. He texted me, and usually I don't keep the family conversations. I don't put them here, but it was so good. He texted it to me, and it was so good. I'm like, I got to screen grab this and talk about it on the show. He says, listening to your podcast on No Way Home, and Andrew, you and I, and Andrew Garfield's acting quality in this, I agree, was incredible. It really reflected his performance in the Catholic movie called Silence that came out in 2016. He watched for a religion class in college. Also, Adam Driver is in it, so very strange to see Spider-Man and Kylo Ren as missionaries.
Right.
He said, also, Dafoe's character in this movie is my favorite DC or Marvel villain ever on screen. His performance was absolutely incredible, in my opinion. And I was like, I'd never heard of, what's it called? Silence?
Silence? I haven't either.
But that sounds really interesting, though. And he watched it for a religion class in college. So he went to Sacred Heart and heavy into the religion there. So, yeah, He had a religion class. But yeah, that sounds pretty good with, Andrew Garfield and Adam Driver. So I'd never heard of it, but I want to check that one out. And I loved his breakdown of Dafoe, or his opinion of it. And he is right. It's like when I got this, I was trying to think myself, I'm like, who would be a better villain in a movie? DC or Marvel?
Heath Ledger's Joker is pretty good.
True. Yeah, Academy Award there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably the first one.
I mean, it's hard to say. You know, anybody else that's. I really liked.
I would say that would probably be the only one I would put above it. I mean, you also have Joaquin Phoenix's Joker as well, but I don't know if that's a DC Marvel villain, though.
Well, I was going to say, I actually really like Tony Leung from Shang-Chi, but I don't consider him strictly a villain.
Right.
Because, granted, he had questionable methods, but his motives, at least in this movie, now, granted, like his before life when he was like conquering people and doing stuff, he was not great. But
right.
in the context of this movie, he was more misunderstood and kind of misled than anything. So,
right.
But I thought his portrayal, I thought he was great. Like, I really liked him in that movie. But yeah, I don't know if he holds up to, like I said, Joker or Goblin, but I did really like his performance.
What's really cool about Dafoe's performance too is when you go back to the 2002 movie, it's the performance we got today isn't anything new. It's so good. It's like you go back and it's like he's just recreating it. But I feel like because this is a better movie, I felt like maybe it was just more pronounced. Then it felt a little too I mean, we was just so probably taken aback with the fact that we had Spider-Man on the screen in 2002, right? And then we weren't into that in 2002. We weren't into that. Oh, check out the acting by the villain. We were just like,
there also wasn't as much to compare it to.
True.
Going back there, you had Jack Nicholson's Joker.
Yeah.
Like, what else did you have?
And even that wasn't. I wouldn't call that great acting.
I wouldn't either. No, I wouldn't either.
That's Jack Nicholson.
Yeah.
Which was great. It was great seeing Jack Nicholson as the Joker. But I wouldn't compare that to Ledger or even Dafoe that was acting, and the thing that Dafoe does that makes it so crazy was his face, the way he manipulated his actual face, that's kind of, maybe that puts him above Ledger. Because Ledger was like, he used makeup, but his portrayal of the character was just so powerful, and the way he acted, and the way he spoke, the way he did everything. Whereas Dafoe does that plus the Jim Carrey manipulation of his face, which was really good. So, but yeah, I thought that was a great comment from Greg. So I'm not sure if he'll be listening to this podcast, but hey,
never know.
Thanks for contributing.
If he's like me, as long as you tell him he's mentioned, he'll
exactly. I know. I should tell you that every week. Hey, John, I talked to you about in the home theater podcast.
Yeah.
Cha-ching.
I did listen to
Watch my
show.
ratings go up. Which one?
I did listen to your Friday show.
That was a long one.
It was like 2.5 hours. And I listened to the whole thing.
You did? Wow.
I did.
Thank you. Yeah. What did you think?
No problem. I thought it was good. I thought you guys both missed.
Oh,
the harder they fall.
Oh,
I'm telling you.
Okay.
The harder they fall.
The harder they fall. There is one we missed that I completely forgot about, and it was right after I produced that podcast, and nobody's brought it up yet. And it's a huge one that I talked about during the year, but because so many things, there was so much great stuff in 2021. For those of you that don't know that are listening to this podcast, I did a podcast with Jeff from HD Report on the top 10 home theater experiences of 2021. And it's more about what was in the room than the actual qualities of the movie and stuff like that. And yeah, there was just so much great content last year. And as you and I talk about here in this podcast, it looks like we're on pace for almost the same this year.
Yeah, it should be a big year this year. And I know you haven't seen that yet. Like, you didn't miss it because you forgot it.
Right.
I know you haven't seen it yet. And it did come out late in the year. But as I'm listening to that list, I'm thinking that was a great experience. And it sounded like neither one of you saw it.
No, we hadn't seen it. Yeah. the one I'm talking about, and I wrote, I'll talk about it here. Shh, John. Shh. It's Tomorrow War.
Oh yeah, true.
That was a huge release by Amazon, and I haven't seen it mentioned anywhere in anybody's top list. But it just got overshadowed because there was so much other great stuff out there.
It's on everybody's list when they talk about Atmos and sound, though.
Yes.
In all of these Facebook groups, everybody talks about it.
Right.
But yeah, as far as which would actually qualify for what you guys were talking about.
Exactly. The home theater experience. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I don't know if it was one of the best movies of the year.
No, no, definitely not.
Experiences and home theater experiences, it should be up there.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But like you said, it's it's a list of 10. You can't.
I could actually probably go through and slot Tomorrow War in somewhere, but I don't think that they're not bad lists. Jeff's 10 or my 10.
Oh no.
I thought it was just such a fun year. So, but hey, thanks for listening.
No problem.
All right. All right. You ready to get to news? Buckle up, everybody. This is a big one.
Yeah, sure.
And let's start off with more.
Yeah, another bummer. Yeah.
This was a shocker.
It was a shocker. Yeah. So rest in peace to Bob Saget. I think it was Sunday. Was it Sunday that we saw that news? Yeah.
I got it on my phone. I looked at Jen. I was like, "Did you hear that?" And like literally, it was like 2 minutes earlier. I was honestly hoping that it was just like a bad report. Right. Because I saw it like literally, I just happened to pick up my phone and saw it right away. So it wasn't even, it was literally 2 minutes old. I'm like, please be wrong.
Yeah.
What's fun?
Yeah, 65, I think.
65 years old, yeah. So 65 years old. And he had just finished the show the night before, tweeted out later in the night, thanks to everybody at the show. He was, whatever happened that night, it's, and he had a tour planned. He was going to be here. I know I saw the list, and he was going to be in Boston in May. But yeah, what I thought was really cool for him, and it's sad that it's not until after you pass that this stuff all comes out. It's amazing that the reach that he had in Hollywood. That he was on Full House, and his two claim to fames were Full House and America's Funniest Home Videos, right? After that, I mean, he was a comedian, but I would say the most of his popularity came from there. And then a lot of people like, oh, he's a comedian too, yeah. So, but that's where I think he got his reach from, is being a comedian, being around everybody. And it's starting to be evident in the entertainment world. And all these people that are coming out that are just, you're like, oh my, and he was such a great guy, according to everybody. I don't know if it's because it's Bob Saget and I mean that by like, why am I so surprised at all the people coming out for him? Right. You know what I mean? Is it because he's not like Robin Williams? Everybody, like, Robin Williams was huge. He's a movie star. He was an unbelievable comedian. I wouldn't put Saget in Robin Williams' category as a comedian.
No, and by all accounts, he's been out of the limelight for 20 years. Right. Right. Except for his stand-up. You know what I mean? But like, you haven't seen him in a current project in a long time. It's not like he did movies or other TV shows. America's Funniest Home Videos went off the air, I mean, at least 10 years ago, probably more than that.
Well, it's still on, just not him.
Well, right.
Alfonso Rivera or whatever. Ribeiro, whatever. I don't know. He's doing it, but yeah.
But so to have that reach still and really have been out of the spotlight for 10, when 15 years.
He left, I think, didn't Tom Bergeron take over for him on America's Funniest Home Video? And now you have Alfonso taking over for him. So he's been off of that show for probably 20 years, like you said.
Exactly, a long time.
And I remember hearing about him when I first heard about him being like, really raunchy was when he used to be on Stern.
Right.
And you'd hear him on there and be like, wait a minute, this isn't the guy from Full House.
Yeah, he had this wholesome image, and he wasn't really, he wasn't quite that wholesome, but.
Right. But he was a great guy.
But still a nice guy, yeah.
It's awesome to see. I saw one image who put it? Oh, it was Tim Allen put the picture out. Tim Allen, by his own right, is a huge comedian, and a really great comedian in my opinion. But it was Bob Saget, Tim Allen, Rodney Dangerfield, Robin Williams, and what's his name? Morgan Fairchild. Yeah, I slept with her.
Lovitz.
John Lovitz. Yeah.
Lovitz, yeah.
Lovitz. However many people that is, they're standing together and they're all just like, they weren't posing for a picture. They were having a conversation and you could see them all just looking at each other, smiling. And I think Tim Allen was the one talking. And you just think of the range of what we would consider like popularity, but they're all just guys hanging out. And as you got Rodney Dangerfield and Robin Williams and the guy from Full House, and that's how great he was and how much people loved him. And and I don't mean that in a bad way. I just mean that like, that's how cool like Hollywood is for these people. And it's like, it's just really sad that it took, this for us to realize who he was in the world like that. But that was a shocker.
It was a shocker. And, a lot of losses so far in the beginning of the year.
I know. Somebody forgot to tell them it goes in threes. We're at 3. Stop.
It seems like every day right
Betty
now.
White.
Because there was also like Peter Bogdanovich, somebody else too, that, just people are, I hate to not to be crude, but dropping like flies right now.
Yeah.
It's just like crazy.
Yeah. And what's weird is that at the end of the year, you'll have forgotten was that this year or last year? Because it's so close to the beginning of the year. And it's like, some of these people, because they come so fast and furious like this, when they do their in memoriams, they'll be like, oh, you forgot Bob Saget. Oh, I thought that was last year. It's sad, but shocking. But
it is.
All right, let's move on to happier news.
Yeah, the only other news it was a really slow news week this week. But James Gunn has confirmed that his post Guardians 3 first project is actually another DC project, and it will be another TV series. Don't know what. We don't know if it's related to the Suicide Squad or anything. Just that, he's coming back to DC, which we had kind of heard.
Yeah.
We had heard that when he was done with Marvel,
there's more that he wanted to do.
Yeah, he was actually, DC was trying to get him on board to, kind of help revamp some of what they're doing. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that should be great. I'm looking forward to Peacemaker.
That's Thursday.
Yeah, starts this week. Looks great. Suicide Squad, I know, it had its hit, some people liked it, some people didn't, but
great home theater experience.
I thought it was great. It was funny,
I
thought it was a definite improvement over the first one, which I actually didn't mind as much as some people, but, just, happy to get him doing anything superhero related. So,
I mean, can't go wrong, him jumping back and forth between Marvel and DC and giving us good quality in both directions. So pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right.
That is it. Yeah, I didn't have anything else.
I can't think of anything else big. We could talk Spider-Man.
Okay.
No Way Home, still kicking butt in the box office.
Still a juggernaut, yeah.
And it's the longer it runs, like what did I hear the other day is that it could be what did it need, one more weekend to surpass or get the number one record for in a row, something
for
like that.
Weeks.
I can't remember what but it's still going, which kind of makes me wonder if that's why they pulled they moved Morbius, because we're getting closer to that, but
should this be one of those asterisks though? Because it's number one for so many weeks in a row, but like, what is it going up against?
But
there's nothing for it to. There's nothing to take its place. Yeah, nothing to knock it off number one.
You're right, but at the same time, I would agree with you 100% if it had like Black Widow numbers. If we're still in the hundreds of millions. This thing is...
I know it's still making money, but...
It's still making money, and it's not in China yet. $0 from China, when all of the ones around it for billions of dollars include Chinese dollars.
It's just there's nothing to knock it out of the number one spot.
No, there isn't. But it's also a juggernaut. It's doing so well.
It is. Yeah, it's
so
huge.
well.
Yep. Again, and it's doing huge regular numbers, not even like the quote unquote pandemic numbers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
you know what I did hear is that it is number one in every continent except for Antarctica. Something like that, right? And that reminded me of when we first started the podcast. Remember?
We have like one listener there or something?
We remember how excited we were because you could see where the listeners were coming from and which country. And we had I think we had 2 different listeners in South America. We had obviously North America, but we got them all. And for a while we were in every continent except for we couldn't. We were in India, and then we weren't in Australia, and then we lost Australia. We got Australia, but lost India, and then we went back and forth. And then when we had them all, I think I screen grabbed it, and it's every continent was highlighted.
On every continent.
But we weren't number one. We just had we had 8 listeners around the world, but they just were strategically placed.
We might have been number one in Antarctica. Right. Because I was going to say, is there even a movie? Is there even a movie theater there? I don't think it's inhabited.
No, there's nobody there. We never had one in Antarctica.
Our one listener could have made us number one.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it's so funny.
We were number one in that time slot in Antarctica.
in any time slot.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought that was wicked funny. I was it just reminded me of how stupid we are.
Right. Well,
it's look at us.
I need no reminders of that.
Yeah, I know.
I live it every day.
I get a daily one when my wife tilts her head like a dog. What are you
tells me,
you're an idiot. Stop.
Yeah.
Stop speaking. I'm going to start a podcast. Oh, that ought to go well.
Right.
All right.
One other little thing. We are going to get apparently a Robin in the Batgirl movie on HBO Max. Apparently there was an image that came up this week of Michael Keaton as Batman. Okay. And there is a Robin that we're going to get in that show. So that is actually kind of news, right? Because we didn't know that we were going to get a Robin there. And
cool.
So
when's that show dropping? Do you know?
Oh, I don't know. No idea. Might not even be this year.
Oh, okay.
I don't know when they're going to have that ready.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? Something else too. All of a sudden I said,
"Look at that! Look, breaking!"
And little things keep popping into my head. Well, the Naomi series is getting ready to debut.
Oh, based on the
apparently,
book.
Yes, but apparently they are going the Black Lightning route. And they are going to be on the CW, but they are not going to be part of the CW, the Arrowverse.
I don't think that's a bad idea because in my opinion, the Arrowverse is dead.
Well, but I think it's a horrible idea because they are going to have a Superman. It's just not going to be Tyler Hoechlin.
Oh, that is kind of weird.
Why be on the CW and have a because Superman is part of her story.
Yeah.
But it won't be Tyler Hoechlin.
They all are.
And so that just seems strange to me.
Maybe they're trying to separate themselves and they're getting away from the crossovers.
But it is. Well, and there won't be a crossover, at least in season 1 with that show.
That's what I mean. They're getting away from it.
It's just an odd choice. For that show. So, because I feel like these shows, they need to get legs, and being part of that universe gives them legs right away. You know what I mean?
Right. Oh yeah.
Just knowing that you're part of the Arrowverse and these stories actually matter. I think.
Well, the CW is being sold. Did you see that? That was
I did. It's going up on the block. Yeah.
They haven't been profitable in years.
These will probably all be HBO Max projects, anyways, going forward. But
right.
But even still, you're going to take it to HBO Max and then still have it be kind of like in another, another universe or multiverse. Right. I don't know. It just seemed a strange choice to me for this show, but
See, I see
because
the
it's
Arrowverse
not like you're
as
bringing.
dead.
It's not like you're bringing in even like a Black Lightning, where people have heard of Black Lightning. You know what I mean? Like Naomi is this show.
Right.
People are going to see this show. Not a lot of people read the comic, and they're going to see this on the CW and think, "Oh, is this like a Riverdale thing? Like, what is this?"
True.
There's nothing to help anchor this show.
That's a great point.
And
I didn't even think of that part.
I think it is. Like I said, I'm not saying it's good or bad. I just think it was an odd choice to make.
It is an odd choice to make when you put it in that perspective, because that's what was great about the book is, one, we knew the book, it was a DC book. It was advertised, it was pitched as a new character in the DC, Heroverse.
Right.
And you were like, oh, okay. And I mean, we read the book, we loved the book. Yeah. And we loved the crossover with the other characters.
Yeah.
And to introduce a show that, one, you don't even know what it is. You're right. It's like it would get a little bit more legs if they brought in Superman right off the bat. But he wasn't in right off the bat at the beginning, was he?
Well,
he was in the first book.
He was integral to the story, but like you didn't really see him. Like the story begins in like the fallout of one of his battles. You know?
Yeah,
it wasn't
in
so
her
much that he was
or something.
Right. Like it wasn't so much that he was important to the story, but it was the aftermath of one of his battles.
So maybe that's why they're just going to have like a shadowy Superman figures, and that's why it's not Tyler, because it's not anybody yet. We just know it's Superman. So I don't know. Yeah,
it just almost
came around. I agree with you.
Well, and the thing is, it diminishes my excitement for it a bit. Like I almost now I'm not even 100% sure I care about it.
I really like the character. Though. Yeah,
I did too, but I'm like I don't know.
I want to see how they. To be honest with you, it is the most exciting, other than Superman and Lois, the second most exciting show on the CW right now. I'm looking forward to that one.
Probably, yeah.
I haven't watched a minute of The Flash yet this year, or any of the others. Yeah. I haven't even watched Superman and Lois yet. And that just started though. That just started 2 weeks ago, or a week ago, I think.
Oh yeah, so I've missed that. I didn't see the first one either.
I think it was last week it started. If it's not, it's this week. But
okay, yeah. Well,
either way,
it didn't pop up on my what. It hasn't popped up on my up next. That's why I wasn't sure. But
yeah, we'll talk about that when we get to Real World. You want to get to checkout?
Sure.
Jump right to it, John. What did we spend our money on this week?
Okay. First book is from Aftershock Comics. It's called Bylines in Blood. It was written by Van Jensen. Sounds like a Ryan Reynolds movie. And Erica Schultz. Had art by Aneke.
I'll let you say it.
Aneke.
Oh, jeez.
I don't know. So this is kind of like a murder mystery private investigator type of story.
Yep.
It says it takes place in the future. Although reading it, it didn't feel like it was
nothing futuristic.
Yeah, there was nothing futuristic about it. Like I would have sworn it was just happening, like in current day.
In New York City, it could have been called.
Could have been any city.
Could have been called Jessica Jones.
In a way, yes, it had a little bit of that. You have this character called Satya. And she is a private investigator. She's known as Lady Dick. But she was a former newspaper reporter.
Right.
And, there was surprise, surprise, there was a pandemic that took place. And it basically, kind of caused the downfall of print media, which, we're seeing, again, that's that was happening topical,
before
right?
The print
pandemic. We've already been seeing the death of print media for a long time. But anyway, so this gets her out of the newspaper business. She's a private investigator. We kind of follow her along one of her jobs, and she gets hired by a woman whose father used to be her boss at the newspaper, who had been murdered. and her job is to basically investigate and find out what has happened here. So, looking at the description here, it says a neo-noir thriller, futuristic. Maybe there's some things coming that we haven't seen yet, but it really just felt like grounded, like mystery. Like I said, a grounded murder mystery to me, and I thought it was good. I thought the art was good. I enjoyed it. I mean, again, it wasn't New Bern. It's not like the best thing. It definitely wasn't the best book I've ever read. Might have been one of the best books I read last week, though.
I could actually say that. Yes, I agree with you.
But it, like I said, I liked it. It hooked me enough that I'm on board for the next issue. No,
it didn't hook me. It was too cliche. It was too Jessica Jones. It was Jessica Jones minus the superpowers, at least as far as we know now, as of right now. And I honestly, I didn't like the pandemic. I don't like it was added. It felt to me like the mentioning of a pandemic in there felt like, oh, I got to get this in because of everything we've been through. No, you don't have to have that in every story just because you're writing a story. And that kind of aggravated me because it didn't mean anything. It's not like, it wasn't like a post-apocalyptic event.
It's not.
It's like we've had pandemic stories before the pandemic that were meaningful to the story. This one was in here. It's like it really had nothing to do with the story.
Well, yet.
Well, even,
right? It may.
It may, but it's just like, oh, like you said, it's like, oh, well, print media went down because of the pandemic. At the end of all this, 5 years from now, if print media is gone, it's not going to be because of the pandemic. That was going down long before the pandemic.
Right. Not in our real life, but in, again, in this fictionalized world, it had its part to play, but
they didn't
would have argued
how.
that print. I would argue that print was dead 5 years ago already.
Yeah, exactly.
Or 10 years ago. Like print's been dead for a long time.
Right.
So
it's as dead as vinyl records. It's like people like it because they like to be like, look, I have print. This is pretty cool, but it's not really.
Well, and there are people that are, older people that are used to reading
like
the newspaper every day. Well, but that read the newspaper every day, that still wear watches, still but we're dying out, right? Like print will be dead and gone with our generation. I don't think it'll survive the next generation because they already don't read newspapers. They already, like I said, they don't wear watches.
Because you can't zoom in on it.
Stuff. Right.
You ever done that reading? You're like, oh, damn.
Well, you zoom in by bringing it closer to your face and then pushing it, pushing it away. But yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I thought it was good. I
didn't think it was awful. I just thought it was too cliche, and it really didn't grab me. I really didn't even. At the end of it, I didn't even care. They just it was a little redundant for me too at times. She kept asking like, "Why did this happen? I won't give it away, but." Why did this happen? And you never find out, and she never finds out, and there's no even hint
you won't
of
find out in the first issue.
No, but at least give me a hint on which direction it's going. It's just
they did because they mentioned that he was investigating the mayor, so we know why he was taken out because he was getting too close to something he shouldn't have. She just doesn't know that yet,
right?
Because they did say that the mayor took advantage again of the pandemic to rewrite all the laws, to use the hysteria and the paranoia of this pandemic to, kind of change the laws and, put themselves in power, very, again, not to get political, but very Trumpish, you know what I mean? Like, I'm going to rewrite all the laws to make myself, supreme leader or whatever, and so that that was also another consequence of the quote unquote pandemic. So I don't know. Like I said, I'm gonna read at least the next issue. I thought it was good enough to go on. If it changes after issue 2, I'll stop.
Right.
But,
all right.
But yeah, I liked it.
All right.
Next up. From Image Comics.
I think we're going to agree on this one.
we had Monkey Meat, issue number 1 of 5. This was written and drawn by Juni Ba. I hate to say this about a comic, but this was just hot garbage. Like, I have no idea what the purpose of this book was.
I don't either.
This was so bad that
I wouldn't feed this to a monkey.
It was excruciating to me to finish this just to talk about it on the show.
It was awful. Awful.
It was awful. And, again, all respect to the creator, the creative people, whatever.
I don't even get what they're going. It's anthological, but it's like, thank God.
This was garbage. I'm sorry.
I don't even understand what the story unto itself.
No, I don't
is.
either. Yeah, like, I don't either.
Like, oh, you're drinking and it feels like caffeine, but then you explode.
Because each issue is its own story, right? It's a miniseries anthology thing, but like I don't even know what the story was. Like I couldn't figure out what was happening in any panel. I have no idea what I was looking at or what I was reading. I don't know. It was rough. So
it was awful. Awful. Yeah. I had the synopsis afterwards and I was like, all right, I still don't get it. I still don't understand it. It's just awful.
Either.
And like you said, the artwork is like
rough.
Yeah.
I'm trying not to be just like so dismissive of the artist, but
I think we are.
It was horrible. Like I'm sorry. Like I can't even pretend that I thought it was good. Like the art was just horrible. The story was horrible. It was just horrible.
Yeah, and remember last week we said a new thrilling anthology.
Yeah.
It wasn't thrilling.
I mean, I just had to I was just going to read it because it was called Monkey Meat, it was like I have to read this. I don't know what it's about, but I have to read it. No. And I really wish I hadn't.
No.
So
yeah.
Yeah.
It's just not good. Not good. All right. What? Let's get right off of that. What else did you read?
I read Dark Knights of Steel number 3. Okay. Again, still really enjoying that series. I think every issue kind of ticks it up a notch from the previous issue. Once again, Tom Taylor is killing it with this book. I think it's great. So there was that. Right. And then I finally got caught up on Robin number 9, which I had.
Oh, the one I talked about last week.
Yeah, great. It was great.
Isn't it? Yeah,
really good.
One
issue.
That was the one that folded up.
Yeah.
Robin. I'm sorry, not Black.
Yeah, not Nightwing, but Robin.
Nightwing.
Yeah, where he finally. I feel like this was the last issue, but
I think there's one more.
Is there one more?
I think there is. The way that ended, it felt like there was another one.
Maybe there's one more. Yeah. Maybe there's one more. But it's kind of wrapping up. This was the whole. They fought the end boss.
Yeah.
And figured out that they had to team up to do it. Singly they weren't going to be able to do it. So
right.
Everybody gets together. They have their end boss fight, and I guess now they have to have the epilogue. But yeah, this has been a great series. I really like it. It's really good.
Did you get Devil's Reign number 2?
I did. Yeah, I read Devil's Reign 2. I caught up. I'm all caught up until today. I read Devil's Reign 2. Yep, great.
Yeah.
Really good. Really good.
You see what I mean, though? It's like when you're reading it, you have a hard time. Like, all right, was this in the show? Is this from the previous books? Like, it feels like it's drawing.
Well, it's just because we're getting a lot of Kingpin. Yeah. And Kingpin's doing what Kingpin does.
Yeah.
And I guess, like I said, it's just a lot of Kingpin. I mean, the storylines are a little different, so I've been able to kind of keep them separate. But really good. This week coming up, we get the.
Well, did you read Batman 119 from last week?
Yeah.
The new Batman 119. What'd you think of that with the Luthor and everything?
Trying to remember it. Yeah.
Luthor and the Bat Inc.
Yeah.
Luthor's been financing it. And I actually I didn't like it at the beginning. I was like, I don't know about this story. And then by the end of the book, I really did. I was
Well, I know you didn't like the first one. Like 118, I know you were kind of down on.
Yeah.
I didn't really remember it, to be honest with you. When you were talking about it, I couldn't even remember reading it.
Yeah.
And even this one here, like I remember the broad strokes with, Luthor kind of offering to continue to finance him because he's lost all his money.
He wants
and all that
to,
stuff.
and he's like, "You're going to play or pay."
Yeah,
right. You'll play along or pay, whatever he said.
So I kind of remember, like I said, I remember the broad strokes, but it's just it's unremarkable. You know what I mean? Like it's just it's not standing out. Like
like Joker is standing out,
right?
Or like Robin, or even the Nightwing story doesn't stand out, but the way that was done was a lot of fun.
Yeah, so I can't say it's good or bad. It just feels like it's there.
It needs something. But that's why I thought this one felt like it was a little bit more remarkable, the way that you're working with Luthor now.
Right.
And I thought that was kind of cool.
And then what's the name of that villain?
The Abyss.
Not the Abyss. I was going to say the Void. It's not the Void, but the Abyss. Like, he could be cool. Like I said, he could be a cool villain, but we just don't know enough yet of what's really happening with this story.
Yeah.
So, I mentioned it, back when the last issue came out. It'll take a lot for me to stop reading Batman.
Right.
But these are not standing out so far as being...
Not like the way they were.
Right.
And... What's funny is for all of the Tom King detractors, I thought what made everything stand out for like Tynion was going from King to Tynion.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like if you went from, say, like Tom Taylor to Tynion, I don't know if you would have had as dramatic of. I don't know if Tynion would have seemed as great.
Right. Well, he
that's not
came
to
in
say
and just
that
made some big changes too.
Well, but the big changes were made compared to Tom King, and I'm not saying like Tom King's bad and Tynion's great, and that's what made Tynion seem great. What I'm saying is, I, as a fan of Tom King's writing, I liked what we were getting, but I also liked how Tynion built off of that, and he built off of the different feel that King was giving you that a lot of people didn't like, right? But that's what made Tynion. I thought that's what gave that run that boost, is because you were like, oh, it was more colorful. It had. Remember, he promised at the time, he was like, oh, a different vehicle and a new vehicle in every episode.
Well, and it was a lot of new characters. But the thing is, by the end of Tynion's run, I was done too.
We were overwhelmed. We're like, all right.
But I was just really so done with that Fear State story that I couldn't wait to turn the page and get to the next thing.
Yeah.
Just like a lot of people felt at the end of Tom King's run.
Right.
And this just hasn't done anything. This just feels like more of the same.
Right.
So far. Again, it could be
still Batman.
Right. It could be different, and there could be things coming that we don't know about yet, but it just feels like I was in a rut with Batman, and we're just kind of still there. We haven't really got out yet.
We need like Spider-Man to show up.
Or it's like I said, some big
a boost,
some big change, like something to make it stand apart. And like the big thing that Tynion did was he came in and he took all his money away. He changed Batman a lot right off the bat.
Right.
And so far, nothing's coming in and changing like that. So, if he starts working for Luthor, that, that could be something, but I don't see that happening ultimately. So,
no.
Yeah.
Let's see. Anything else? You know what else? I was reading this week, and this is what I was so excited. That's all I've read this week. I read the latest Spawn. Getting prepped for what's coming next week, or tomorrow, actually, or today, Wednesday, as we speak.
Right.
We'll talk about that in a minute. But I started reading a book. A book.
A book?
Yeah.
Wow.
So for Christmas, Joe gave me a book Meg gave me a book. Meg gave me a book about training pets.
Okay.
But Joe gave me a book, Joe Thornton's book. Used to play for the Bruins. Written with him and Dale Arnold. Gave me a book, and I love those kinds of books. But what was funny is, I went and took the book, and I usually put it on my nightstand to read it. And I went to do that, and there's already a book been sitting on my nightstand since last Christmas that I specifically asked for to Jen, and she bought it for me, gave it to me for last Christmas.
It's got water rings all over it.
Yeah, no kidding, huh? It's Ready Player 2.
Oh, okay.
And I started reading it, and I haven't read a book, I think, since Ready Player 1. Right. Which was before it came out and before the movie came out. But I read that book because I was listening to Dork Podcast at the time, and Ryan Davey talked about it, and he raved about it. So I was like, all right, I got to pick that up. I read it, absolutely loved it. Couldn't wait for the movie to come out someday. Of course it did. Doesn't live up to the book, but I still like the movie. But Ready Player 2 is really, I think it's just because I'm like, I haven't read in so long, and I do like to read stuff like that. You just happy
to be reading.
Yeah, and it's reading a solid book, and because I've been doing so much comic book reading and then watching movies and doing other things, it's nice to sit down with a novel. Right. And it was a lot of fun. And it's funny that the opening part of the book it's about Ready Player 2. It's basically Ready Player 1 Part 2, but they find new tech right in the opening. Few pages. He gets some new tech. But now, instead of going into the Oasis, it goes right into your head. And I was like, oh, this is like Strange Days. And of course, my ADD kicks in. I grab my phone. I start looking up. Do you remember the movie Strange Days from the 90s with Ralph Fiennes? And it was an awesome home theater movie. I had it on Laserdisc. And I started shopping for it. And I'm like, oh, I want to buy this on Blu-ray and be able to watch it. Well, come to find out, it doesn't exist on Blu-ray yet, which that'll be fun when it comes out. So I put my phone down, I go back to reading the book, and like the next page, and one of Holiday's favorite movies, Strange Days from the 90s, and I was like, hey, there you go, because that's what the tech is like. So I thought it was pretty funny. I was thinking it before it happened, but really enjoying that. I try to do like a half hour to an hour every morning, just sit down and read a book. And I'm going to start reading novels, John. Look at me.
Nice. Look at you.
Growing. Renaissance man.
Little boy is growing up.
I'm getting so good I don't have to move my lips.
There you go. Or follow along with my fingers.
I'm not that good yet.
You're still doing that. Okay.
Oh. All right. You read anything? Oh, you want to get to what's coming next week?
Yeah. Gonna take a look at Hell Sonja.
Hell yeah.
1. Yeah. Another Red Sonja book. I did.
What happened with the other one? I think I missed. What book are we on with that one? The one that we both liked.
6 or 7.
All right. I read up to 4. I might be a couple behind. I'm gonna have to
might be behind,
find that.
Yeah. Yeah, still good. The Mirka Andolfo Red Sonja run is really good. I'm not sure about this one, honestly. It's just not a lot of number ones hitting the stands this week, so we'll see how this one goes. But
I'm really looking forward to this next one.
Yeah, the next one is the Scorched number 1, which obviously the Spawn team-up book that we've been waiting for, so that one should be good.
Yeah, really looking forward to that, yeah. Hell, Sonja, I mean, it can't be awful.
No, I mean, again, it's Red Sonja. I read Red Sonja.
Yeah, you love Red Sonja. Yeah.
I'll just see I'm not sure what the premise of this is exactly.
Right.
But we'll see.
Yep. And obviously Scorched is going to be cool. All right. Are you ready to get to Real World?
Yeah.
All righty then. All right. You start talking. I'll go get some popcorn.
Yeah. Well, there's not a lot this week, honestly. I watched a couple of movies on Saturday. I took a mental health day Saturday because I still wasn't feeling fantastic, so I was just hoping to get one more day of rest and just kind of get over the last of this. So I watched a couple of 4K discs that I had, both movies that I've already seen before but hadn't seen on 4K. So I watched Lucy, which obviously the Scarlett Johansson movie, which was fantastic in 4K.
Yes. Did you have it cranked up?
I did, yes.
Any pictures fall off the wall?
No, but I finally found the rattle, and I went and I went and fixed the rattle on my wall, which was like my mirror in the hallway. And
what'd you do? Put some of that theater gum behind it?
I just kind of I didn't put anything behind it. I just kind of like readjusted it. Yeah, and I'm sure it won't last. Like I'll have to go back and do something eventually. But
you got to get some of that. It's called museum putty. I call it theater putty, but it actually is museum putty. I'll send you the link on YouTube. But you just put a little piece. I mean, you could put this on a shelf to hold like knickknack. Like I have Michelangelo being held up by just a small piece of it. You put it on his foot, sticks him on the shelf. So it works really good on like a picture on a wall and keeps it from vibrating because it just like it just sticks it to the wall. You could actually hang a light picture with this stuff. Never mind if it's already hung and you just don't want it to vibrate. You just put that back there, won't move. Won't move, won't vibrate.
Yeah, I was just going to get some like Velcro. I was just going to get something to secure it. But yeah, I had to get up and track it down because I was like, all right,
that movie it'll shake your whole house.
Because it really had it shaking. And so did the next one. I watched Black Hawk Down. Also in 4K.
I've got that on my list to review soon.
I hadn't seen it in a while.
So good.
And again, one of the discs that I bought recently that I hadn't watched yet. So so I watched two great movies. Kind of spent
Black
Saturday
Hawk Down
afternoon.
in Atmos. I'm not even sure if that's in.
It is.
Is it in Atmos?
It is. Remember. Yeah, it is. And it's same thing.
Awesome.
Talk about shaking the walls and shaking the house. Like I said, I watched both of them at full reference level, and
there you go.
It's pretty
That's
loud.
my boy.
That's it. So after that, again, I watched those by myself. Lydia was at work. Sunday, we kind of sat down and watched Welcome to Earth, which came up on your podcast
3 weeks in a row. I still haven't seen it.
Several people had mentioned this one too. I've said this before. I am not the hugest Will Smith fan in the world, and I probably would have stayed away from this just because of that. But this was great. Yeah. This was a great show. It's on
Disney. Pee in your Cheerios or something? Why?
No, I just don't think he's very good. I just don't like him. But this is Disney Plus. Yeah. It is not in Atmos.
No, it's just 5.1.
But it is in Dolby Vision. Looked fantastic. Still sounded really good. But actually, I mean, and this is a good theater experience thing to watch. But it was more interesting. Like it was just. An interesting show. It's 6 episodes. Each one of them deals with like a theme. One is sound, one is motion, like fear, different things like that. And, it's him out there trying to overcome these things. But yeah, really, really worth the watch. I actually really like these type of things. I like Planet Earth, and I love to watch that kind of stuff. Yeah. And this was really good. And, like I said, took most of the day Sunday. We sat down and watched. They're like 40 minutes a piece, 38 minutes to 40 minutes. So They weren't super long. But that was pretty good. And then after that, just a couple of one-shots, really. Like, we haven't talked about this at all, but the finale of Dexter New Blood was this past Sunday. We've been watching it. We've been watching it every week. So the finale hit Sunday. So I figured it was a good time to mention it since it was done. This is basically season 10, or actually it might be season 11 of Dexter, and was, designed to be a new ending to the show, and was really designed to be one and done. Now, there is a door slightly ajar for them to come back if they want to, but this is like an end to the story. and very fitting end for those of us that were less than happy with the way the show ended 10 years ago.
Yeah.
This was a much better ending, and actually just a good it was pretty good. I don't know if you're watching it at all.
No.
I don't know if you're even caught up. Like,
no,
were you even caught up to Dexter?
We started back in on it months ago to try, and then
I know that.
Of course, you know us.
But I didn't know if that was your second time around, though. I wasn't sure if you had actually seen it before.
No, no.
Okay, so it'll be good for you then, because you'll see the end and you won't have to wait 10 years for the next end. It'll just be, you could just, the way you watch stuff, it might still take you 10 years to get to it, but
I'm sorry.
I'm just saying.
It's not like I'm not doing anything.
I know.
It'd be one thing if I sat here complaining. I got nothing to do.
Right. But yeah, like I said, overall it was a great season and a great kind of end to the story.
Cool.
Season finale of Mayor of Kingstown also was this Sunday.
Look
again,
at you.
Another show that we've been watching weekly since it came on.
That's just
this was a really
right?
good show. Yeah, it was just one season.
We just started it.
Okay.
We just started it. I thought it had been out a little while.
No, it just ended. It's started basically 10 weeks ago. So
interesting. This isn't a spoiler or anything. Great show. We've watched 2 or 3 episodes.
Really good.
First episode, that'll blow you away, right?
But I mentioned that when it came on. Don't get too attached to people.
Yeah, no kidding. I knew that anyways going into it. I said to Jen when stuff starts happening on the show, and she's like, "Oh my God." And I was like, that's kind of I expect that now anyways, and I'd forgotten until you just said it right then. I forgot you even mentioned it. But when I go into shows now and I see characters like bigger names and stuff, and I'm like, okay, we have a couple of them here. They're not making it through the episode. Or, because that's the way the show goes. They get you in, and it works. It's effective. It's great.
It does work. Because that particular guy is the one that made me want to watch the show in the first place. So, unfortunately, but yeah, it's actually a fantastic show. Really good.
So let me ask you this though. This isn't a spoiler or anything. So, Jeremy Renner's character in the show, he doesn't have a tattoo on his arm. I thought that was real. When we watch Hawkeye,
I guess it's not.
He's got a sleeve, like his whole arm. But I've seen him elsewhere as well with a sleeve. And
we see him without his shirt? Like, do we see him in this show where he should have it? Okay,
yes.
I wasn't sure.
It was there, and even Jen was like, maybe they put
maybe they hide it for the show. Yeah, maybe
hide
they mask
it
for the show
with a skin colored sleeve over it.
Right,
I don't know, but I thought he got in real life. I thought he got tatted up.
He might be. I don't know.
But because
I only really.
Or this was filmed so many years ago before. I don't know. I don't know when it was.
Oh no,
filmed.
I think this is pretty new. I think it's pretty new.
Actually, you're right. It is, because I saw some of the making stuff of it, the behind the scenes, and they're all masked up. So this was filmed during the pandemic. But great show. We're really, really enjoying that. So
yeah. So
that's funny. We're not even that far behind on it. Look at that.
No.
Look at us go.
Yeah, I think it's 10 episodes altogether. So
cool.
All right, watched a new show. Only one episode so far, called The Cleaning Lady. I think this is on TNT, but we caught it on Hulu. Okay. I think her name is Elodie Young. She's she played Elektra on the Marvel, the Hulu stuff.
Okay.
Like from the Defenders and stuff. Kind of she's a cleaning lady by trade in this. She's in the country illegally from Cambodia, right? She's actually a doctor. She's here because her son is sick. She's here to try to get treatment for her son, but they're illegal. So she's working, of course, undocumented as a cleaning lady. Gets caught up in like a mob situation. I don't want to spoil it too much, but basically she gets caught up. She witnesses somebody getting killed, and of course, doesn't want to get killed. So offers to be a cleaner for the person that did the killing. She's like, you gotta get this body out of here. You gotta get this blood out of here. Don't kill me. I'll clean this.
I'll clean up after.
And then of course that gets her embroiled into the mob, right? Because they want her to continue to do this stuff for her.
Is there a crossover with John Wick? Does she follow him around?
Yeah. So it's only one episode, so obviously have no idea where this show is going to go. But it was actually pretty good. Like, it was not at all what I thought it was going to be. And was pretty good, pretty interesting. So I think episode 2 hit last night. It'll probably show up. We'll probably watch it later. But yeah, that was interesting. And then last thing, we started watching Vigil that you talked about last week. We're 3 episodes in on that right now.
What'd you think?
And yeah, fantastic. Yeah, really great. Yeah, really great. Really tense. Really, you don't know what's. Again, it's a murder mystery type thing. Somebody's killed on the boat, on the
but
submarine.
It goes in different directions.
Yeah,
I can't wait for you to finish it. There's something I want to talk to you about on that.
Oh, is it only because I know there's 6 episodes. Is that all there is?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's done.
Oh, so it's already done.
Yeah,
okay.
It's wrapped. We finished it, and it's
okay. Well, I mean, by next week, I'll have it done.
Oh yeah, you'll have it done.
And but yeah, that was really, really good so far. So
yeah.
And like you're right. I recognize a lot of actors from that show.
Yeah, they're all British.
I don't know who they all are.
Yeah,
but one of the guys is the engineer guy, I guess, the officer, the young kid. He's from Sex Education.
Oh, okay.
He's a big character in that show. So I recognized him right away. And I recognized a lot of faces.
What's his name? One guy's
from Game of Thrones.
Yeah, he was the one that was with
Podrick. Yeah.
He was the leader that was with. He killed his daughter in Game of Thrones. Remember, he burned his daughter at the stake because
him. But no, there's another guy, the younger guy. Podrick is also from Game of Thrones. And there's a guy from Outlander. Again, but it's all British.
Yeah,
British actors. So you see him in a lot of those shows. But I think is that on Peacock? I think that was on Peacock.
Yep.
Yeah,
Peacock's really
definitely.
Good.
Yeah, I can't recommend that enough. It was great.
Really good.
It is great. So and that's it. That's kind of our week.
All right. So. We saw Jim Gaffigan, I Am a Monster on Netflix. Did you see that?
Haven't seen that.
Yeah, Jim Gaffigan's great. Anyways.
Yeah, he is, but I haven't seen that one. So
yeah, he's funny. He's really good. We love Jim Gaffigan, so definitely check that. I won't go into any of his jokes because I'll ruin them, but it's really good.
Right.
I watched They Live in 4K.
Oh yeah,
remember
Roddy?
Yeah, Roddy Piper.
Yeah.
That's my review for this week for my podcast. But yeah, Jen hadn't seen that she'd never seen it.
I don't think I've seen it in 20 years, probably.
30 years, yeah. It came out in 88, and I'm like, she goes, well, were we together when it came out? And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, and I watched it so many times on tape on HBO or whatever, not HBO Max, but yeah, just a lot of fun, just funny, and it's the score to it. It's just so like Jen almost got up to leave. It was really? I was like, why is this bothering you so much? And she was like, it's just going right through me. But of course, we're listening at reference level and everything. And she's like,
yeah, it's loud, right?
Oh my God. But it's just so monotonous. But that's the point of that's the entire point of the movie. Right. And it's like, you're just going through life, and it's just that, kind of a Western feel score to it. That's just so monotonous. But there's one fight scene that I talk about in my review that's just when you're watching this at reference level, it's just like the punches and the kicks and everything, they sound so real and so like it's brutal. But check it out if you haven't gotten it. Definitely. I bet you it's not even that much money. It's
probably not.
It just came out last year, I think, but really good. A lot of fun. Let's see what else. Oh, we went down a rabbit hole on Saturday. It was kind of crappy out. I got home from work and we got suckered in and we went on the dark side of the 90s on Vice channel.
Okay.
It was just like hour after hour of different events in the 90s that were just like one of them was on like young actors from the 90s and like how they just went to heroin and all that and like all these different things. And then by like 11 o'clock at night, we started at like 2 and like 11 o'clock at night, we're still watching this, but it was just like, there were no commercials. Cause it was on whatever we were watching it on. I don't know where Jen pulled it up, but I was just like, are you kidding me? So much like crazy stuff. It's all from the 90s, of course, but you're just like, I didn't know that was going on. I didn't know all this, like sex clubs and drugs and all this different stuff. It was crazy.
Right.
Crazy. a lot of behind the scenes with the actors and stuff,
Right.
So not as exactly it's the dark side of the 90s. So it wasn't the fun images like I was talking about earlier where the comedians were all standing around talking and having fun. This was all like, the club. Oh, one of them was on Johnny Depp's club where, what's his name died, where River Phoenix died.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So there was a whole show on just that, like, that club that they opened just for them to all go to. And Jennifer Aniston used to go there and you're like, oh my God, it's like, all these wholesome people. And then they're talking about what they were doing behind the scenes. But yeah, episode after episode of that. I told Mayor of Kingstown. Let's see, what else we did. Oh, American Auto. Did you pick that? Did you check that out yet?
Not yet. No, I mean, I saw
3 episodes.
Like,
we just watched the third one last night. Hysterical.
Just haven't gotten to it yet.
Yeah. It's hysterical. It's brutal. Yeah. It's like so uncomfortably brutal. It's so funny. It's so funny. And I am almost done. I'm about a half hour away from completing For All Mankind season 1.
Okay.
Holy spook.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell? That is
really good.
It is really, really good. But the end of that season is like, it's like a train wreck.
I'm trying to remember the end of it, honestly, but.
Oh my God. Nothing goes right for anybody in space or on the planet.
Right.
Right? Like, it was, I mean, one mistake after another in space. It's like, I started thinking back because like I said, I'm almost done. And I'm like, are you kidding me that like everything could go wrong. Right. They were trapped up there, this, that, the
that's right.
sun.
The Gordy thing with Gordy and all that stuff.
Yeah. Deke and just unreal. Just like don't get attacked.
Season 2 is better.
I hope it's a little more uplifting.
I don't know about that,
but that's what when's season 3 coming? Is there any?
I haven't heard yet. Well, though there should be one, but I haven't heard anything yet. As far as like an official renewal, but
so good. It's so good. And another one that's like the opening credits. You gotta watch. It's so beautiful. Just like looks so good.
Well, and again, it's Apple TV.
Apple TV.
It's great picture, great sound. It's really good quality. The production value is through the roof on all
anybody
that
not watching Apple TV, it's like I just think you like good quality content. You might not agree, you might not like the genre. Like we haven't done it yet. We want to go watch Dickinson. I
haven't watched that yet either, but I will
still
probably watch it.
Yeah, but it's like all of these shows it's cinema-esque. Every show. Can you think of a bad one? I mean, Snoopy in Space, maybe?
Yeah. I mean, so far, nothing. Well, we didn't get into The Servant.
No.
Tried watching the first.
Right.
I think we watched the first 2 episodes of season 1. It is well done. I just didn't get into that show.
But the production quality, I mean,
but I'm not even saying it's a bad show.
CW-ish at all.
No,
it's like
it just wasn't that it wasn't bad. It just wasn't for me.
Yeah.
But everything that I've watched on there has been incredible. Even the movies, like I said, Finch and I can't. Well, they're both Tom Hanks movies. Actually, they're both.
Greyhound they didn't make.
Greyhound. No, they didn't.
Bought
but
that. They bought that.
That's true.
But
that was great. But Finch was great.
Coda.
Yeah, everything
was it
they've
Coda
done.
From them?
Coda. Yeah, that's right. Coda was on there. It's still, again, still my favorite movie from last year. Fantastic.
Great stuff.
Stuff there. But yeah, For All Mankind is excellent.
Okay. That brings us to the last bit for this week. We won't do any. I gotta skate tonight, so we won't do any Kryptonite. But we haven't talked about Book of Boba Fett yet.
Well, we talked a little bit about the first episode.
Yeah, what'd you think of episode 2? Spoiler free. I mean,
well, it was better. Like it was better than episode 1.
Really?
But still too much flashback.
The whole thing was a flashback, wasn't it?
Literally the whole thing, yeah, except for the very beginning and the very end. It was
I got
all
a little
flashback.
pet peeve, but go ahead.
It's Boba of Arabia, basically, is
pretty
what
much
going on right now. But we need to get to the meat of this story. Like, I understand what they're doing. Like, they're setting this up to where at a certain point in this season, somebody's going to have his back, and it's going to be the Tusken Raiders. Like, he's going to get into some kind of trouble, and they're the ones that are going to come.
Right.
They're going to be like, you have nobody on this planet that cares about you or that's going to help you out. Well, and the Tuskens are all going to come and have his back.
Well, I think what he's going to try to do is unite the Tuskens with everybody, because everybody hates the Tuskens. So I think he's going to try to be that, like, he wants to be that ruler that rules with respect instead of fear, and he wants to bring everybody together. And I just think they're having a hard time getting to that part of the story.
We got our first live action view of like the Pikes, from the Clone War, from the animated shows, which I thought was pretty cool. We kind of get to see what they look like without their masks on. We saw Spice for the first time. So, we've heard about it a lot, but yeah, I don't know. It's slow, but I liked it better than the first episode. But we're only getting 7 of these, and here we are 2 episodes in, and like, I
don't feel like we went anywhere.
We don't have a story yet. We don't really know what's going on. We met the Mayor Hammerhead, which was kind of cool. But yeah, I don't know. I'm still whelmed by this show.
Yeah. So. And you know what really got me whelmed? Here's my pet peeve is like the opening scene of episode 2, and he's sitting on like Jabba's throne, and Ming-Na Wen is next to him. And I'm like, it is an awful looking set. And it's awful, like, acting, because you could tell it's just like the 2 of them in a room, and they're like, what do you think of that? You know what I mean? Like, you and I could act out that scene. It was so stiff, and it reminded me of like when you and I we were being funny, and we were acting out some Marvel scenes in my theater, and we were being stiff on purpose because we were taking photographs, and it's like the people coming in as with tributes to him or whatever.
Right.
It just felt
the other thing
like,
too.
Ugh.
The other thing about this show is like this show is taking place after Mandalorian season 2. Like these events are taking place after that. So like when we get introduced to Boba Fett in episode 6 of Mando, whatever it was, like he is like whipping the butts of like 15 stormtroopers.
Right.
Like he's badass, he's bounty hunter killer Boba Fett, whatever. And then we get to this show, and like the goons from Batman 66 come in and like kick the crap out of him.
Right.
It's just like, what is going on here? Like, what happened to Boba Fett? Like he gets his butt kicked, then he has to go sleep in the Bacta tank to heal up, and it's like, that's not the guy we saw like a month ago.
Last season, right? Or
well, but like essentially a month before that, So it's like this. It's kind of like this weird depowering of Boba Fett. I don't understand. It's like they've taken him from, this badass guy to just an old dude. Like, I don't know what's going on with him. So, because it doesn't feel like any time has passed since Mandalorian to now. It's like basically
it really shouldn't have. It literally,
it's
the way
it's literally the end of
season,
right.
On the throne, and now we open it's literally a minute after that episode.
Exactly. So he shouldn't be all of a sudden so weak. Like, I understand he was weak when he came out of the pit, but we've had months since then. Like,
because
right.
He came out of the pit, and you're starting to get the backstory of comes out of the pit. He's taken in for all intents and purposes by the sand people.
Right.
So then he goes on his quest to find his armor.
Yeah, he goes on his vision quest, and
right. Well, he goes to find his armor, and that leads him to the Mandalorian. And now he's got his armor, and he goes back to probably reunite the citizens. But you're just like, you're right. He's a shell of himself. Like when he showed up in Mandalorian, he was dressed as like the Sand People. He was dressed in that garb. So now you're getting the backstory of why he looked like that then. But he was a badass, like you said. He was ripping around.
And even towards the end of this episode, like he's fighting with the Tuskens. Like he was healed and kind of back to full strength.
Right.
And now all of a sudden he's not. Like he's like this weak guy that can't even, if he takes a walk, he has to go sleep in his bath because he needs to heal up.
Right.
And
get me to the bath. Or whatever.
Right. We don't know what we don't know what happened to him. And it's kind of weird,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So hopefully today's episode is it redeems because I'm like you said, I'm whelmed. I'm happy and like my best
by the end of this, it's gonna be great, right? Because these guys know how to tell a story.
Right.
So that it's gonna get there, but it's kind of like season 8 of Game of Thrones. Like you're only getting 6 of these things.
Yeah.
I don't want to waste 3 of them. Yeah. And I kind of feel the same way with this. We're only getting 7 episodes. I don't want to waste 3 of them before we get into the meat of the story.
Right. Yeah.
This thing should have came out like guns blazing and
Exactly.
But he doesn't look like a guy that's fit to be the ruler. Like he doesn't look like he should be the guy, because he's weak and ineffective.
You know what else we don't have?
So
why? Why
does he want? Why
no
does he want that?
motivation? We have no direction. We have no motivation. We have no we're 2. Like you said, we're only getting 7. We're 2 in.
Right.
We don't know anything more than we knew in Mandalorian.
Right.
Really? He's
got his armor back, so
so
I don't even know why he's still there. Like, why is he still on that planet?
2 episodes, he just wandered into the city, got his butt kicked, and then got dragged home, put in a tank, and we're still in a flashback mode. Which, for all intents, but like you said, this week's was a nice story, but it didn't push the season really yet. I'm sure there's going to be something in there. Hopefully,
it's like I said. There's a lot of
we saw the origin of his staff.
Like I said,
we saw that.
We know, right? It's setting things up that we are I'm sure are going to pay off because again, at a certain point, the Sand People are going to show up again and have his back. Like, there's no way that's not going to happen.
Do you know?
Because it's the only reason for that whole story to be taking place.
Do you know what is kind of funny? What? Is like if you think of the timeline that they've drawn out for us here, we were brought up thinking, Boba Fett was a badass bounty hunter.
Right.
And he could kick butt.
Right.
He couldn't. He fell into the Sarlacc pit.
Right, he couldn't.
He couldn't. He lost the fight on the little hovercraft, fell into a Sarlacc pit. He didn't become the badass until he got taken in by the Sand People and trained.
Right.
He didn't have any badass in him. What we grew up with was all a myth. And then he came out and was like, because he couldn't even fight. He got his butt kicked. Because I was expecting with the Sand People, he was going to defend himself and then they were going to work together or something maybe.
Right.
No, he just got his butt kicked and was like, all right. And he was, and we said this weeks ago, they are backtracking or backfilling that he's a nice guy. Because when he was ruthless,
they're trying to.
When we were kids, he was ruthless. He was the ruthless bounty hunter. He didn't care about Han. He wanted the money. He's the ruthless bounty hunter. Now you're like, he's the bounty hunter with a heart.
Right, because that's the whole thing. He's like, I'm going to rule with respect. Why? Like, you're Boba Fett. Like, why do you want to rule with respect?
Right.
Like, why? You should be ruling with an iron hand. You should be Boba Fett. If somebody gives you some smack talk, you kill him. It's like, like that guy comes in from the mayor and gives him some lip in the episode 1. You should have shot him in the face. Like, that'll get the attention of the mayor, right? Like, that's what you do.
To be clear, everybody, John says that fictionally. That's not how he handles things in real life.
Everybody's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, we didn't see your litter, so we didn't know you were coming," and all this stuff. And it's like, I'd have people carrying me all over the place. It'd be like, I don't know. The Hutts came in on their litter. They didn't. I guess we're kind of trying to go spoiler free, but we didn't mention the big
not much has happened
introduction though. Well, but we got the big intro of Black Kersantian or whatever his name is, the Wookiee.
Oh yeah. That's been all over Twitter. It's been all
over Twitter, so it's not a spoiler, but like that was a big deal because I didn't know that was. I didn't expect to see him because now it's like, do we get Dr. Aphra? Because there is an unknown female character that's in this show that we see in one of the trailers, and to me now that should be Dr. Aphra, and that's a big deal because again these are comic book characters. They're not drawn from the legends or the lore or any of that stuff. They're pretty new characters from the comics. So I think that's pretty cool. I would love to see Dr. Aphra show up. I mean, her book's not the best book.
Here we go speculating.
But she's a good character,
Yeah.
Well, speculating to the point where I have her first appearance on my wall and I pulled it down and put it in my box because it might go up.
You're listening to the show, are you?
It might go back up in a couple of weeks at $100 more because if she shows up in this show, that book's going to double in price. So
we may have a speculator segment coming up soon.
So we might, yeah. But as soon as I saw that, as soon as I watched that episode, I texted this because it was Thursday. I texted my guy at the store. I said, "Hey, do we still have that first appearance of Dr. Aphra on the wall? Take that down." I have a feeling we may see her in a week or two on the Book of Boba Fett. So
there you go. Yeah. So,
but yeah, so that was, like I said, that was not expected. I didn't expect to see him.
Yeah.
Now he's working for the Hutts, so that's no guarantee that we see Dr. Aphra, but there is that character that we don't know who she is, and she would be the right age and, would fit for that. And then the other little link that I heard today on the Kevin Smith podcast, I didn't put this together when I watched it, but the deleted scene from New Hope where Luke goes into like Anchorhead and meets his friends.
Yeah.
And there's like the guy and his girlfriend. Those are the two from this episode.
Oh.
The two that show up in the.
Is it the same people? Is it the same
characters? I don't know if it's the same actors, but it's definitely the same characters.
Yeah.
And I forget what their names are. They said it on
Disney
the Kevin
Plus
Smith
too.
show.
You can see that scene on Disney Plus.
Right, you can. But
that's
yeah,
awesome.
those are those two characters. So that's pretty cool. So that the question was, were they at Tashi Station or where were they? Like where was that little place where they were? But I think that's just like Favreau bringing in stuff, like nobody else will really know this.
Right.
That's who these guys are. He's just
awesome.
bringing in these things, which was really cool. So,
well,
I thought that was neat.
Well, do we get a crazy appearance like we had Luke? I mean, you can't even guess. You could.
Well, the heavy speculation is that we're going to get Harrison Ford at the end.
Really?
Like, there's a big room. Yeah, there's a huge rumor right now. Well, they'll have to de-age him just like they did with Luke. But the rumor right now is that we'll see either Kira or Han at the end of this season. And Tamora Morrison and Mignar, they're already teasing like a big like cameo of somebody.
Here we go. This is WandaVision all over again because we're gonna get nothing and Mephisto. Be like all disappointed.
Yeah, it's Mephisto. But I think it would be harder for them to get Harrison Ford than it was Mark Hamill, because Hamill likes to do this.
He loves this stuff.
Harrison Ford will be like, "Are you kidding me? Like, you've already killed me. Now you want me to come back again?"
Yeah, exactly.
It's like
he'll come back as Indy.
It's going to be tough to get him. Yeah, it's going to be tough to get him back.
He'll have the fedora on.
But there's there was also heavy speculation this week that there's a Kira series in the works for Disney Plus.
That would see, play. They could really.
That would play into her showing up at the end of this show too. So, because Crimson Dawn could be part of whatever's happening.
I was going to say
here.
Red Dawn, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, technically
it's
the
same thing. Yeah, I know.
Wolverines.
Yeah.
But yeah, so somebody's going to show up at the end of this show, whether it's Kira or Han or something. But I think they're already setting the bar for that. So Han would make sense because getting
Kira,
those two. Well, Kira would too, but getting those two reunited would be pretty cool. Boba Fett and Han.
Yeah.
I can't imagine what the story would be though. Like,
it could just be a cameo.
Yeah, like I don't know what the reason for them to come together would be, because like why would Han be anywhere near Tatooine at this point in time?
He's always running spice. He did his whole life, and that's what he was constantly doing it. That's what we found out in the latest trilogy.
Maybe he heard Jabba was dead. Well, he knew because Leia killed him, but like maybe he wants to come back and be the boss.
Yeah, so. I don't think so.
But I could see Kira coming and trying to take over, based on the Crimson Dawn stuff and what's happening in the comics. So
yeah, exactly.
And I think a show like her getting a show would be great too. So
yeah, be good for us.
Again, a lot of rumor, but
a
lot of people are. It was popping up a bunch the last 2 weeks or so.
Yeah. Cool. Well. Maybe something will come true in today's episode. Wow, we'll we'll know in a minute.
Yep.
Some of our listeners might already know.
They probably already know.
They already know. They're yelling at us. Dumb. Yep. We already know. Not the first time. All right, is that it?
I think so.
Alrighty, that will do it for this week.
So that was kind of Kryptonite anyways. We just didn't call it that.
Not a ton of spoilers. Honestly, if you haven't seen it, none of it makes sense. None of it.
Yeah, I don't think we really spoiled anything.
There's nothing really to spoil. Like we've said that.
No, nothing's happening.
There's another show we said that about. Like recently, we're like, nothing's happening yet. If I had to rank it, it's one of my lower ranked shows on Disney Plus so far. It's about.
But I said that after 2 episodes of Hawkeye. Like I thought after the first 2, after the first 2 episodes, I thought it was fine, but I didn't think it was great. It was the 3rd episode of that show that kind of turned it around for me. So hopefully this will follow.
See, I liked the first 2 episodes. I loved what they were doing there. It was Christmas. Maybe that's it for me and Boba Fett. I'm in the doldrums after Christmas.
The post-Christmas,
Post-Christmas doldrums. Poor Boba.
Yeah.
All right. That'll do it for this week. You can tweet at us at brightside_chat, or you can tweet directly at John at Arkham Comics, and you can email us at thebrightsidechat@gmail.com. And we'll talk about it next week. Let us know what you think of Boba Fett. Do you think it's great? Do you think it's like me? Yeah. But we'll be back next week with more. Have a great week, everybody.
Take care, everyone.
Hey, Fred.